This video is about Dreamcatchers, their myths and meanings, and I'm going to present the Dreamcatchers that I've made so far. So here's a little background information. I retired in January 2024 with long COVID, and I'm a bit restricted in what I can do physically, but I decided that regardless, I was going to try doing all of the things that I've wanted to do all my life and never actually managed to do. When I was very young, I didn't have the money to purchase crafting supplies, and then when I was older, for most of my adult life, I was actually pretty much consumed by my work. But now that I'm retired, I can try all sorts of things that I've wanted to do forever. So I actually began with basket weaving. It was one of the things I really thought that I would enjoy, and I got good enough. I'm not great, but good enough to be able to sell my baskets at a local store. I didn't make very much money, but that was one of my goals. I wanted to see if I could make something with my hands and my brain and see if somebody else would want to buy it. So having done that, I wanted to switch over to making another type of item. When I was a teenager in the 70s, I was kind of a hippie child, and I loved Dreamcatchers. So I actually spent a few months trying to figure out how to make a Dreamcatcher, and I'll be making a tutorial for that. But in the process, I became interested in the origins of Dreamcatchers and the symbolism. Apparently, there are two primary descriptions of the origins of Dreamcatchers. The first origin story came from the Ojibwe, also known as Chippewa, who describe a woman known as the Spider Woman in their early history. The Spider Woman would use her magic, her blessings and charms to protect the people of her tribe or her band. But the number of peoples grew too large for her to be able to do this. So she began to make dream catchers which she could give out to people all over the land, thereby being able to cast her charms and spells more widely and protect her people. The second origin story comes from the Lakota, who describe a leader or a chief in their early history who was on a mountaintop making a pretty decoration from a willow hoop and stones and feathers. There he met Iktomi, a trickster and wise teacher who was in the form of a spider. Iktomi spun a web in the center of the hoop, and he told the man to take it back to his people and to make more dream catchers for them. The dream catchers would help guide them spiritually and help them use their dreams to find good paths in life and avoid the bad ones. The parts of a traditional dream catcher include a hoop, often made from willow branches, a web that could be made from animal sinew or cordage from plants, beads which could be made from shells, seeds, bone or horns from animals, stones, and feathers from birds such as hawks and eagles. Dreams and dream catchers have always been of real importance to indigenous peoples. For instance, naming children may come about through dreams. Dreams allow prophecy about the future, and they help with spiritual guidance. Or there may be symbols in a person's dreams, perhaps an animal or plant or an object that has special meaning to them. Dreams exist in a magical place, and the goal is to acquire self-knowledge, often through communication with the elders. Just as there are two different primary origin stories for dream catchers, there are also two approaches to understanding how dream catchers work. The Ojibwe believe that the web of the dream catcher traps bad dreams, which are floating around in the air, and good dreams can be caught by the dream catcher, and they pass through the hole in the center of the web to the dreamer. On the other hand, the Lakota believe that good dreams are trapped in the web, and that they then glide down the feathers of the dream catcher to the dreamer below. Traditionally, dream catchers are placed above one's bed in order for this to occur. Dream catchers can be designed in many different ways, with various aspects of the dream catcher having different types of symbolism. For instance, the hoop of a dream catcher is said to represent the cycle of life. The number of points in the webs, or where the web attaches to the hoop, can represent a variety of things. For instance, if there are 13 points, it represents the 13 phases of the moon. 8 points would represent the Spider Woman, who has 8 legs. I'm certainly not an expert on this, but I understand that a dream catcher with 7 points is actually an homage to the 7 prophecies of the grandfathers, which has to do with the effects of colonization on Native American peoples, and a future that will be free from oppression. A dream catcher with 6 points may represent an eagle and courage, while 5 points would represent a star. I've settled into making my own dream catchers with 12 points, which could represent the 12 months of a year, which is not a concept used by indigenous peoples. The beads and stones of a dream catcher can represent a variety of things depending upon the colors, the shapes, and the compositions. Generally speaking, blue, the color blue, represents peace, calm, and serenity. Red represents love and passion. Yellow represents energy and optimism, while green represents nature and harmony. Orange can represent energy and creativity, while purple represents power and mystery. Turquoise is a healing stone and a healing color, and it can represent friendship and luck, while pink represents love and playfulness. Brown is a nature color. It's warm, and it represents strength and health. White represents purity and cleanliness, and in fact, white dream catchers are said to be the most powerful dream catchers of all. And I do tend to make more white ones than any other color so far. Finally, I've been tempted to make a black dream catcher because I think it could be beautiful, but I'm hesitant because I don't want to give anybody nightmares, if that indeed is what would happen. Most of my own dream catchers have glass beads, and glass is said to represent purity, transparency, and clarity. I've made one dream catcher with tiger's eyes, and these stones are said to represent insight, clear thinking, and good judgment. And I've made 2 dream catchers with turtles in the webs, and turtles or tortoises are said to represent wisdom and being able to deal with complicated situations by maintaining self-confidence even in times of difficulty and doubt. So here are the dream catchers that I've made thus far. I know it's a little bit pretentious, maybe even cringy, but I couldn't help it while I was making them. Usually they have names. For those who believe, it may be helpful to perform a blessing on your dream catcher. Some people believe it's important to periodically cleanse a dream catcher, either by burning sage or by putting it out in the sunlight and fresh air. It's perfectly all right to gift a dream catcher. I received one when I was a teenager, and I still have it, and it started my fascination with these objects. And finally, there are those who believe that you really can't just throw a dream catcher away. Instead, you need to burn it in order to avoid offending the ancestors. So if anyone does end up with one of my handmade dream catchers, I hope that you have beautiful and perfect dreams.